matter where you start.
Exactly right. You don't have
If I needed the votes for the wall in the House, I would have them in one session.
Well,
would be done.
Go do it.
It doesn't help because we need 10 Democrats in the
Don't
Senate.
put it on the Senate. Put it on the negotiation.
Okay, let me ask you this, and we're doing this in a very friendly manner. It doesn't help for me to take a vote in the House where I will win easily with the Republicans.
You will not win.
It doesn't help to take that vote because I'm not going to get the vote of the Senate. I need 10 senators.
The fact is, we do not have the votes in the House.
Nancy, I do. And we need border security. Nancy, we need border security. It's very simple.
There's more breaking news tonight. This on Capitol Hill. The House is giving President Trump what he wants, a mammoth funding bill that includes new money for his border wall and money to fund part of the government.
Because Pelosi really did do a great job of agitating him. She called it the Trump shutdown, and eventually at the end of the 16-minute interaction, he was finally like, okay, yeah, it is my shutdown. What are you going to do about it, right? And in that case, she was like,
oh, you won't get the votes in the House, even from the Republicans.
Poke. He's like, oh, yeah, I will. No, you won't. Poke. And he's like, oh, yeah, I get it right away. And now she knows the vote better than he does. Of course, he doesn't know anything, right?
We do have more breaking news on this Thursday. Moments ago, the House of Representatives passed that bill giving President Trump more than $5 billion for his border wall.
And now she knows the vote better than he does. Of course, he doesn't know anything, right?
Of course, he doesn't know anything, right? Of course, he hasn't prepared, and she knows that. So now, since he publicly declared it, there's a world of pressure on the Republicans in the House to get him those votes, which they don't have. She was right.
On this vote, the ayes are 217 and the nays are 185. The motion is adopted without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The unfinished business is on the question on suspending the rules and passing H.R. 6602, which the clerk will report by title.
They cannot do it on their own, and the House and Senate will not approve a wall. They cannot do it on their own, and the House and Senate
Will not approve a wall.
it won't happen.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
USA Today conducted a survey featuring lawmakers, Republican lawmakers, and the main question was whether or not they support increased funding to build Trump's border wall. And now it turns out that the majority of the GOP is not in favor of spending taxpayer money to construct the wall.
The majority of the GOP is not in favor of spending taxpayer money to construct the wall.
So you get nothing. You lose.
Is that Nancy Pelosi, and she did, as Judd Legum at Think Progress pointed out, she did what no Republican in the last 2 years has been willing to do. She stood up to Trump, to his face, in public, in front of cameras. That is what happened yesterday. Trump was sitting there trying to tell them, give me the funding for my border wall. And Pelosi straight up said, no, you're not going to get it. You don't have the votes.
I think it was a really important day today when Nancy Pelosi last week was in the Oval Office with the president and Chuck Schumer, and she said, Mr. President, you don't have the votes in the House to fund the wall. And today we put up a massive vote with a large margin of Republicans that said, we're going to stand with this president. We're going to fund the wall. And we just gave him serious leverage in whatever negotiations he's going to have with the Senate. They have to confront this issue knowing we have the president's back in the House.
Wow. Today, yeah. You know, at his worst, Donald Trump has been a bully and a clown his entire life. But yesterday, it was his worst traits on display for all the world to see. Live from the Oval Office. The president was embarrassing and undignified in his fight with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Some of his fans may have liked it.
You're
goddamn right.
But most Americans do not. This is the type of wretched behavior that led to the Democratic landslide last month.
George Stephanopoulos.
And what we're reporting right now is that Republicans will keep the Senate. ABC News can project that Republicans will keep control of the Senate.
What she did yesterday showed how effective she can be. And as long as we get that Nancy Pelosi for the next 2 years, then hell yeah. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. That Pelosi in the White House yesterday is the Pelosi that we've been needing, the Pelosi we have been wanting, and the Pelosi that this country is desperately, needing at the moment.
We did it tonight in the House. I mean, just a few minutes ago it passed. Even though last week in the Oval Office, Nancy Pelosi said the House can't get the votes to pass a border security wall, funding for a border security wall. We just did a few minutes ago, got 217 votes. I think the Democrats had 185. So we just passed it in the House. That's step one, and now it goes back to the Senate. And
so if she keeps this up, then hell yeah, more power to you, Nancy. After they left is a clear indication of how exciting the next 2 years are going to be when more and more Democrats, and maybe they'll bring some Republicans with them, continue to stand up to Trump and tell him no.